it's true that we love one another. I love Jack White like a little brother. Holly, I love you too, but there's just so much that I don't know about you. Jack, give me some money to pay my bills. All the money I give you is on paying bills. Will it do you cut it out? Tell them what it's really all about.
Name and Occupation podcast in depth. Let's go. Toronto styles. Welcome to Name and Occupation in depth. Today, hot topic is Toronto. So Toronto is the capital of Ontario with a population of 6.3 million people.
So Canada is big. And how long would it take you to drive to Vancouver, you think?
Oof.
It's 3
From
days.
Ottawa?
3 days?
Yeah.
Yep.
Canada has more lakes than all of the rest of the world combined. Let that little fun fact sink in, right?
I love that
like,
one.
Like Ontario alone has something like 200,000 lakes or some crazy thing like that, right? Like it's not so.
Here's a map of Toronto. It's like, well, the GTA, I'd say. There's a green belt around it. And so
What
the
is a
GTA,
green belt again? How do you explain a green belt? Is it a place where they can't touch and build to try to preserve the nature?
Exactly, Frank. Exactamundo.
You guys into downtown Toronto?
Yeah.
The raccoons rule the world over there.
It's also home to the world's longest road, right? Yonge Street. Let's not forget that fun fact.
Toronto refers to a channel of water between Lake Simcoe and Lake Couchiching. And it shows on maps. So if you look, this is Lake Simcoe. And here is Lake Couchiching. This one here is Lake Couchiching. So this area was called Toronto. And if you span out, it's a little bit north of Toronto, but this is where the name came from.
This is old footage from 1904, the first footage ever taken in Canada.
Wait.
Very cool. I love that. That's in Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say bring back the horse and buggy. You want to save the environment, right? God.
Bring back the horses.
Another fun thing about Toronto are the streetcars, right? The streetcars. Not a lot of places still have those.
Name Desire?
Streetcars named Desire. Oh, there you go. There's your streetcar, bud. In Chinatown, there are the streetcars going by Chinatown. Look at that. So one of my favorite things about Toronto is the culture. Like, I love the hub of having different nationalities, different languages. There's a Chinatown that's like, you know, there's so much activity going on. And one of the things that I used to really enjoy doing was going to the Toronto Film Festival that takes place every second week in September. And so there's Naj and I posing at a TIFF sign. So the Toronto International Film Festival is one of over 80 film festivals that take place, but of course the Toronto Film Festival is the most renowned. And a lot of people don't know this, but there's a Vanity Fair party the first weekend following the debut of the festival. And if you know the location of where the Vanity Fair party is going to be, you can run into a lot of celebrities. and so we ended up finding out where the party was going to be, and we ordered some dinner, and then we just waited for all the celebrities to come and go from the party, and everybody was really cool. Everybody was in a super good mood.
Right.
And Ethan Hawke's kid, who's like in
Actually,
Stranger
Daisy, you
Things.
gotta say the story. If you're gonna talk about her, you have to share your story.
Oh, my Maya Hawke story?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was like this red carpet, and Maya was like walking the red carpet, and she didn't even have a film in the festival, but she was just accompanying someone. And she was walking down the red carpet, and I was like right by the edge with Nash. And I had just seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she's in it for like a hot second. Like she's basically the driver in the getaway car. And so like anyways, so I had just seen the movie. She's walking down the red carpet, and then everybody's screaming, Maya, Maya. She's just walking. She's like not looking around, not engaging with anybody because she just doesn't want to be noticed. And I scream out, Maya, Stranger Things. And then I go, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then she like turns around, does like a 90-degree turn and like beelines towards me. And I was like, and she's like, hey. And I was like, hey, how you doing? She's like, yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm not really here for a film. I don't have a film, but I'm accompanying my friend who has a show. And she's like, and I'm like starstruck, holding my phone. She's like, do you want a picture? I was like, sure. She's actually the one who grabs my phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And takes that picture. Yeah,
great story.
Really, really sweet. She was really
so
sweet.
yeah, you should explain how you got to these parties.
Because Nash lives in Toronto, and so she's like, let's go. And we're always, you know, like we just kind of like, you know, talk to people, and we're like, so there was the Vanity Fair party, and so nobody could get in, and there was like an area, like an open area at the Vanity Fair party where there was all these actors just hanging around talking. There was an inside area that you actually needed like passes and stuff to get in, like your name needed to be on the list. But there was like other people like Greg Kinnear. There was like a whole bunch of celebrities that were just hanging outside talking, because this is September, so it's still kind of warm. But in order to get in, you need to be on another list. But Najla and I were watching, and like people would walk up to the security guard and they'd be like, Vanity Fair party. And so I'm like, that's the secret password.
Hilarious.
That's the secret password. So I'm like, Nash, let's just walk in, and look, we're dressed up. Like, we don't look like celebrities, but we're dressed in black, so whatever. So we walked, and then I'm like, Nash, so you just walk beside me. I'll do the talking. So then you just walk beside me. So I went up to the guy, and I'm like, Vanity Fair party. And so the guy like opens the thing and like lets us in.
You got it with the secret password.
The secret password that we like heard like The thing is, we're no strangers to celebrities because this is like a party. This is like a smut party that used to be done like on a yearly basis. And that's, we met Dan Levy. And so basically it's just a gala where you kind of dress up, you buy a ticket, and then you like hang out with celebrities and you're just like walking around and like.
Who's that? That's Dan Levy.
That's Dan Levy. Do you know who Dan Levy is?
Is that Eugene Levy's son?
That's Eugene Levy's son. And
he's a director, right?
He's a director. He
really
writes.
good.
He's a writer. He did Schitt's Creek with his dad. Schitt's Creek, which was like won accolades. This was another year that we went. Cool. He was best friend. So yeah, it's a fun town. Like Toronto is filled with celebrities. You just gotta know where to look. We're not gonna change who we are when people start recognizing us on the streets and be like, "Hey, can I have your autograph?"
It's gonna happen.
today we have Francesco back in the kitchen. Welcome back, Francesco. We've really missed you. What's cooking in the kitchen today?
So today we are making beaver tails, one of the greatest things in Ontario, from Killaloo, Ontario, the best invention, the best dessert that you can have. It's one of the most populars in Ottawa and in Toronto because Killaloo is right in between Toronto, closer to Toronto than Ottawa. It's a really good dessert. Beaver tails are awesome. The thing about beaver tail, they're very seasonal. They're mostly come in the winter, not because you have to go and hunt down the beavers. That is not true. Beaver tail, it is a pastry that you're able to create and fry and put some great seasoning on top. Now, the ingredients are very, very easy. You have a 1/4 cup of lukewarm water, 5 tablespoons of active yeast. You mix that up, and with a little bit of sugar, let's say about a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar, mix it up for about 2 to 3 minutes, make the yeast disappear and kind of activate itself. And then when you do, you add about 1/3 cup of sugar, you add 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of salt. And then you mix that up a little bit just to kind of like spread out that yeast, give it a little bit of nutrients with all the extra liquids. And then you add your 5 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, I have a all-purpose flour. You can use the unbleached flour. So it makes it a little bit more natural, a little bit more better color, a little darker color, which that's what I like. So mix that all up. And you add, sorry, I forgot, 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Some people do add it, some people don't. It doesn't matter, it's up to you, but I like to add it for that reason. You mix it all up for about 3 minutes in a mixer. You can use an automatic mixer, or you can use your hands and just knead it in for about 7 to 8 minutes. You want it to be really, really well mixed up. Sorry, 1 second, it's gonna blow up on me. And then once that's all mixed up, you're gonna put it in a bowl that's a little bit of oil and set it aside for about an hour or so. You want it to be all the flavors, all the things to get some nice texture, and you want most of it to be able to get to an elasticity or elastic. How do you say that again? Elasticity, or I guess so, huh? So you're able to stretch the dough. What you do is you take about a golf-sized ball of your dough. So it's about, an inch and a bit, an inch and a half. And then you're able to you can roll it as a sausage just a little bit, and then you kind of stretch it out into an oval piece. Now, it's very, very elasticy. Let me get close to you guys here, to the live streamers. So you want something that's very elasticy, and you're able to stretch it out. Okay?
That's cool.
And the good thing about this is that you don't have to cook them all today. It gives you about 20 of these beaver tails around that area, depending on the size of your pot. So you can pre-line them up like this, put in a parchment paper, and then sandwich it up like this, and you can freeze it and you can keep it for the next time, okay? And then when you take them out, you thaw them for sure, and then you stretch them out a little bit more, and then you put into some vegetable oil in a pan or in a fryer. Now, you want to make sure you don't need a very big, deep pan. This is a very shallow pan. I have about an inch of oil here. And you fry it up until it comes, this one's a little bit hot there, a little bit brown, but you want a nice, even brownish coating on that, okay? So it doesn't take long, like a minute, not even on each side. And the good thing about beaver tail is there's a lot of different recipes. Now, I dip it here in some cinnamon and sugar. You put it in there, mix it up. Okay, so that is the more of the traditional one. Some people might say, oh, that looks like a churro kind of recipe, which is kind of the same, but this is nice and flat and not as thick or heavy as a churro. So it's a little bit lighter pastry. The other good recipe that you can also do is with, one good recipe, let's restart that, is with cinnamon and sugar. you put it in there, mix it up, and this is the regular traditional cinnamon and sugar. Now, there's also a Killaloo, which is one of the original one and one of the most popular one, is you also have it with the lemon. So you have this cinnamon goodness, and then you put some lemon, and you eat it like that. The one that my girls love the most is, of course, same thing. You roll your dough, flatten it out, fry it up, tap it down with a few paper towels, just take the excess vegetable oil. And one of my girls' favorite is, guess what? Do you know, Chris, what it is? I'll tell you
I
right
do.
now. It's
Killaloo.
hazelnut spread.
What?
Right on the live stream for you guys. I have it
Frank,
on the
I
other
want to
camera
see you
too.
spread it.
Oh yeah. Look at me in the eyes. Look at me in the eyes. And that is the hazelnut spread, right? So that is my girl's favorite. And I'm telling you, the good thing about these beaver tails, there is like chip stands or little restaurants on the side of the street just in time for winter. Because this stuff here, you go get it, it's nice and fresh and warm. You get the hazelnut spread that's leaking everywhere. You're going to need 30 napkins just to clean yourself. And it's just so much goodness. Now, the good thing about beaver tails, there's one thing that you must have, of course, it is hot chocolate. Now, talking about hot chocolate in Canada, I think one of the best hot chocolates you can get in Canada is the brand from Tim Hortons. This is the Tim Hortons hot chocolate. Now, Tim Hortons, fun fact, it is a guy who started this coffee shop in, what is it called again? Hamilton, Ontario, which is part of the GTA of Toronto. So now, this is one of the biggest franchise here in Canada. And I lost my my things here. So while I'm cooking another beaver tail, I'm going to show you a different recipe.
Nostalgia behind the crispy beaver tail with the hot chocolate in the winter. Anybody who hasn't experienced that has to get that under their belt. Like,
right?
Ideally.
When you go skating on the canal, it's a staple.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it.
And I like in my hot chocolate from Tim Hortons is just a little bit of cream for two things. It's just going to make it a little bit more creamier. And also it cools it down just enough for you to enjoy it a little bit earlier. Now, of course, you got to have some nice hot water to make this great hot chocolate. So now I am going to show you in a second the last one, which I think a lot of people don't know, and I do not know what it's called. I think it's the maple spread, right? So I'm going to show you this right now. I'm going to get a plate because I got to make this fancy for you guys.
Maple. Oh.
All right. So you take your beaver tail, as you saw, it takes only about a minute or so on each side. You dap it down just very, very lightly with some paper towels or any type of absorption of, and then I am going to show you this. So I'm going to get too close to your big camera. This is called maple spread. It is a delicious, beautiful, this is what I used to love when I was little. And you just spread into your maple syrup right there, or the maple spread. Spread it on your beaver tail.
Deadly.
Like that. Look at that deliciousness. And you know what, everybody? This is not it. This, you guys are going to freak out right now. And then you take some nice chocolate syrup and you just do a little twirl like this.
Oh, Lord.
Look at that. And good thing about this, I get to eat all of this maybe tonight. I might not sleep tonight, but that's okay.
Frank,
it's totally worth
it. Are
it.
you going to show us the classic Killaloo?
The classic Killaloo? That's what I just showed you. Are you going
to show us the classic Killaloo? Because that's my personal favorite all time.
What is
so
that?
The classic Killaloo is so you got your
cinnamon sugar
here.
with lemon.
You got your cinnamon sugar one that I had done a few seconds ago. And you grab your lemon here. And I'm going to live stream right there. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the traditional Killaloo.
Thank you, Chef
Yeah.
Francesco. You've
Thank
knocked
you
it out
very
of the
much,
park
Frank.
again.
Yeah. Neil Young was from
Oh,
Toronto.
look at him
Little hippie.
as a young lad.
Yeah, he's quite the activist. He doesn't think he's going to be touring again.
And that brings us to Mike Myers.
Oh, Electric Circus.
Yeah. Speaker's Corner, right? That like a
Speaker's
play.
Corner, yes.
Remember?
Bare naked ladies, yes.
You know, got coffee, donuts, did everything that I could just to be here. So hopefully you guys out there are smarter than that.
Of course, by the time you see this, hopefully I'll have long since disappeared from society, living on a private island like Howard Hughes and married to Destiny's Child. Yes, all three of them. It's my island and my laws.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to a very special edition of Juno TV and the new music. My name is George Strombolopoulos. It is so weird to be standing with you on this corner right now. But the reason we're here on this corner in front of this building is because of the person who is being honored tonight with his Walt Graylis Special Achievement Award. And there's truly no more deserving person to get this. I'm talking about Denise Donlin. Denise is a legend. But how did she get to be a legend?
It's my first day on air, Pet Shop Boys, live television, and Denise is standing right beside the camera person like this. No smile, nothing. Like, if you screw it up, you're gonna have to contend with me.
She said, make sure you listen when you're talking to someone because they have a story to tell.
She really knows how to get the job done, and that's what I call hot in a woman.
Well, when I was in broadcasting at MuchMusic, the person with the biggest balls was Denise.
I thought, here's someone that comes from a totally different part of the music industry. I mean, she's made bands get on buses. Like, you came with a whole different set of experiences.
Denise was, suddenly the boss of MuchMusic, and she was incredibly generous and remembered friends, and that's a great strength of hers.
I think when you meet Denise, one thing you quickly realize is that this person can get shit done. She already had a great way of connecting with musicians, so you layered on that new journalistic approach of the new music to it, and it was the perfect connection.
Was super passionate about Canadian talent. She was super passionate about music. She wanted things to be infused with that energy and that authenticity. So it wasn't like reporting about music, it was kind of like living the whole thing and being that and putting it out there.
I belong again. I didn't get no money here, but I never felt paranoia and fear, because out on the street, that's a place to be. Because out on the street is where I get my IDs. So that's an impromptu number about being on the street.
That's awesome.